All right. Welcome to Light Code Portal. I'm Tanya Griffin, Dean of Education for Light Language University. We are sponsored by Light Language University and Circle Insights. We are here tonight with Anna Noyce, and our topic is going to be astral travel.
Yes.
So without further ado, Anna, we would like to start with the first question.
Okay. Thanks for the introduction, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you. Always love visiting and talking. So
yes.
So we're doing astral travel tonight. Yes.
Astral travel.
All right.
Yep. The first question is astral travel a dreamlike state, or are you in meditation when traveling?
Great. It's actually both. So what people don't realize is we astral travel all the time. We're multidimensional beings. So sometimes, have you ever been in a car where you're driving through a stoplight and you see the stoplight coming up, but then maybe a couple of streets down, you don't remember going through the stoplight? That's when you leave your body, and that's kind of in the alpha brainwave, and you leave your body and you kind of do a quick travel. We travel in our dreams. We travel in daydreaming. We actually do short little travels in the daydreaming, but we're doing bits and pieces of it. So,
right. And I know lots of us like to daydream, especially when we're at work.
Well, especially if we're driving. I always tell people, if I'm not in alpha and I really stop and go in beta brain and I'm thinking, I can't remember how to drive. So that's when I'm more dangerous. Better if I'm in that alpha.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times that I've been driving, especially on long trips, where like you're on the interstate on those long,
yes.
And you come up on and you're like, oh, wow, I'm here already? I didn't even realize.
Wonder. And it's even when we're talking to people, Tanya, and we do this when we go on trips and stuff, we're visiting and chatting and don't realize that we're here and we're there. So we're both places at once. So we're kind of doing mini trips. But yeah.
I like to travel, so that's a good thing. The next question is very interesting because I actually have my own stories with this too. And so when I astral travel, sometimes I feel like I'm falling and I'm going to die if I don't get back into my body quickly. It is a frightening experience. What does this mean and why does it happen?
And you know the answer to that, because yeah, it is frightening when you're conscious of it. But there's many ways that we can approach that too, as we start to realize that you're not going to die. This is just part of that feeling of dropping and stepping in. When I do astral traveling, and I can do it when I can drop into theta very quickly and then leave my body, I don't have any of the sound. A lot of people have sound and roaring or that drop, but just before they leave. So yeah, it's something you can work through.
I know for myself, I've had the personal experience, and I know I've talked to other people who also have this experience, is that dream of falling where you feel like you're falling and it's so sudden. And I tell them usually that's because something startled you and you get back in your body so quick that that's what it feels like. It feels like, you're falling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Usually you don't hit the ground, but
Nope. And that's the whole point. You have to get past that and just know that you're going to fall right into it. So there's a good practice. And then we kind of teach this in 102, and you've taken the 102, where we actually stand, we see ourselves, we go into that theta, but we go with the impression that we're going to stand with our backs and we're going to fall backwards. And so we put our hands like that and fall backwards into wherever we want to project. So that's another technique. And it kind of, I don't know, you did that? Did you feel like you were falling, or did that scare you, or?
Actually, I kind of felt on those particular jumps, I actually felt like, um, if you've ever been on a water slide at a water park, that's
Uh-huh.
what I felt like.
Yes,
Actually.
because you're going very quickly.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I know that some other people in our workshops, it kind of scared them, so they went forward. One of them said she didn't fall backwards; she went forward into the jump.
Yeah, mine was, I was ready for it.
That's
So,
good.
I remember the first time that I ever astral traveled consciously,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was probably 11, and I was laying in bed, and I always went to bed with the radio,
Ah, yes.
and wasn't really paying attention, was just kind of almost to that dreamlight state. And then I could see myself from the ceiling. I could see myself laying on the bed, the radio, the whole bit. And it scared me so bad because I didn't know what astral traveling was,
Yeah.
that I went boom, right back in my body just like that.
Which is totally different than lucid dreaming, because that way you're conscious. And lucid dreaming, you're conscious, but it's a different astral plane, I think. But yeah, I had the same experience. My father had a Indian teepee one summer, and so I was taking a nap, and the next thing I know, I'm out of my body, walking around the teepee, going around, looking at different things, going, wow, and then turning around and going, oh, there's my body, and then boom, right back in the body. So, uh,
All right. Next question I have. I have heard of the silver cord that is attached to your physical body and your higher self when you're astral traveling. What is the purpose of this cord? What is the purpose for, and how does it protect us?
so as you know, and we've talked about this, the silver cord is to keep you attached to your body. Without that silver cord, you will be gone. You do your transition into uh, the death part. But yes, that silver cord is very important. I don't know that it protects you. Now, what's interesting is when people are astral traveling on purpose, um, they do feel like they need a bunch of protection. And so they do all this stuff to protect them. But when you're constantly astral traveling, when you're not even thinking about it, and you're not putting all this protection when you're driving, or you're going to when you're shifting, from the dream state and then going out of your body and stepping out, you're not putting a bunch of protection because it's happening so quickly. So, I think it's really about raising the frequency, putting that mindset when you're talking about stepping into the power, which is what we teach at the university,
Mm-hmm.
um, to really step into that, open that space, and then step forward. Because if you're in those different, and we were doing a shamanic workshop a couple of weekends ago, and the best part, we went into some different, the middle world, which is supposed to be the most dangerous, and we were going into these different realms on these other planes. We never protected. We always stepped in when we projected into those different realms. So yeah. What was your take, Tanya?
I tend to think, yes, no, I didn't protect. I tend to think that your spirit knows where it's supposed to be going, or how to do these things. So once you get to that theta state,
Mm-hmm.
that you start to do the travel, I think that your spirit automatically knows where it needs to go.
True. And then I do want to bring up, because some people do go to some scary realms. I mean, there's some scary dreams out there. And then people do bring, visitors back, even when they're, but it's really about, if you're going to do it consciously, it's really about raising your frequency, because though as you raise your frequency, you're going to match those different astral planes that you want to explore. So there's so many amazing places to go. So yeah.
The next question, actually, there's two, and one, it actually just talks about what you just spoke about. Does astral travel require me to be in a higher frequency?
It doesn't, but it's better if you do, because you want to go to the realm. And
You want to
actually,
go to the good realms.
I'm going to change this a little bit and kind of go off a little rabbit trail. But death is the same way. When we leave our bodies, that's one of the reasons why a lot of people want to confess their sins or want to, do all the other rituals that we do to release that. But it's really about frequency. It's always about frequency. So I think somebody told me a story about that Gandhi, before he left his body, he was laughing, so that immediately will put you in a higher realm.
Mm-hmm.
So I would think good thoughts if you're going to go
Yeah,
move
definitely.
into that frequency, or just know where you're going. Tanya,
Yeah.
I do have a story. Years ago, and this is in my book, A Journey into the Sacred Heart. A friend of mine, she passed away, and I was looking for her, and for some reason, it just felt like she hadn't moved on. I just couldn't find her, and I kept searching for her and asking her to come through. So finally, I laid down on the bed, and Steve's next to me, and he's reading his book, and the cat's over here. And I said, just keep the cat off of me, because if the cat pounces on me, I'm going to come right back very quickly. And so I just laid down, and I just held her energy of what I remember, because we all have frequencies, and I know what my friends feel like, and my children and my husband. And so I just thought of my friend, and immediately I found her on the other realm, and she was stuck. She was in between and very confused. So this is a shamanic thing. We did a psycho pump. I was able to help her, and that's what that's about, is help her move into the other realm. But she was very confused, and then come straight back to my body. And I was talking to a teacher later on, and she was like, well, didn't you protect? And I was like, no, I never thought about protection. All I wanted to do is I needed to find my friend. I felt like she needed my help. So I think that's kind of what a good example of how we do this. It's really about matching energy, and we know that's the number one rule in the universe, is like attracts like, so we
Mm-hmm.
match.
And like we teach at the university, you need to step in. Once you step into your power, you don't need any extra protection for anything. You
Exactly.
are your protection.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
So speaking on what we just talked about, this also goes along with that. Can I astral travel without intending to, or does it require intention?
Oh gosh, we astral travel all the time. So I would think, oh my gosh, I there's another story, and I tell this story in one of the light language classes, is that when my kids were very young, I had them in the back of the car, and I was taking them to my grandparents, and I know how to get there. Been there 1,000 times, and one day I got lost. Now I did this trip, you know, every week, 4 or 5 times a week when they were little, to go visit the grandparents. And I couldn't find my way around. And finally I got home and I thought, well, that's weird. So we checked my sugar. We went through all the physical, because something's got to be wrong, right? Physically.
Mhm.
So actually this happened about 3 times. It was the third time. It was the third time that I actually said, okay, this is ridiculous. I know how to get to my grandparents' house. I've been there since I was a little girl. I know how to do this, just across town. And so I consciously made myself be aware. And as I started driving and I got to a certain point, I caught myself going out of my body to Hawaii. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I was in Hawaii and I was able to bring myself back into my body, but somewhere, that's why I was kind of wandering around the streets. So I had to bring my energy back in, and I said, okay, that's it. We got to ground this in. And so I stopped it right there, because the kids were in the back of the car. I'm not, I don't need to be going to Hawaii. But for some reason, I was astral traveling to Hawaii and then getting confused.
Hmm.
So yeah, we do it all the time. We just don't, and there was no intention. It just happened. So we do it a lot, even unintentionally. Yeah,
Well, obviously, you needed a vacation.
I guess so. We need to go to Hawaii. So,
Yeah. Um, if we can astral travel to any time in time and space, can I visit a past trauma experience and influence the vibrations of myself and have it affect me now?
yes, we do this in Light Language 102. And I'll let you speak on that one, because yes, we do that
Yes.
quite a bit. And
Yes, we can. I went, and you do experience the trauma, you feel the emotions. and you feel it in this 3D body right and then. And so, and the good thing about it is once you do that, you can actually heal that.
True. And we also do where we can turn it, we can be the observer. If it's something that's way too much, then of course we can step in and be the observer and astral travel back and watch it from that perspective. We teach that in our shamanic workshops. We teach it in Light Language 102, big time. So yeah,
Yep.
that was a good question. I like that one. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, Tanya, don't forget.
Yes.
We do past, present, future, and parallel. So
Yes.
it's not just past.
That goes into one of the questions that I had over here. Um, can I astral travel into the past and future, or is it only for viewing the present?
So we just answered that one. Yes.
That
Yes.
was one of those.
And why was it good to look at the future? Because there are things in the future that we may want to bring back into this and kind of experience or learn from that. And then parallel is always interesting. That's always something that's happening. And that doesn't have to be a parallel life that's happening that's like me, multiple. It can be me in different types. I can be a cat or a penguin or, something else, right?
Something fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ocean.
On that note, what was it? Let's see. Oh, traveling to the future. That's what I was going to ask. If you travel to the future,
Mm-hmm.
can you affect the outcome? Much like we'll reference Back to the Future.
Oh, I see. That's like that movie, Back to the Future.
Yes. How does that affect that? We'll go there because lots of people wonder about that paradox. That if you go to the future, it affects something, will it mess you up here?
Yeah, but it depends how you look because and that goes into what we teach in 102 about collapsing timelines. And we're constantly collapsing timelines. So there's endless possibilities. So yeah, when we're working with that. But yeah, it could affect the future. If you brought something back, let's say you go in to learn something, you bring it back and you start teaching it, then you collapse the timeline.
And I know most people would like to go forward just enough to get the lottery numbers, just to come back, to now. But
it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. If it did, we'd all be in Hawaii.
I know.
So lotto tickets are great, but yeah.
Oh, we just had a question come across on Facebook.
Ooh, fun.
Yes. How long should I spend on an astral travel visit?
As long as you want to, or as long as it takes. Because there are times that you want to spend some time. I remember a couple of nights ago, I was astral traveling and I got into a space and it was a parallel life, and I'm looking at a house. And what was interesting, Tanya, is that I was looking at the molding on the house. It had like hand carved lions into the molding, and I'm like looking around the house and realized, wait, let me look at this because this is pretty neat. And I'm looking right there at the molding, going, wow, appreciating everything and how vivid everything was. So, it just depends. And then I realized I wanted to come back. So I came back. But yeah, I think it just depends, how much fun you're having. Don't spend too long. You always want to, as the guru said to his one of his students, he said, don't forget, you live in the physical world. You need to enjoy that too. So
very true. Okay. One last question, just to wrap this up. Is it dangerous or risky, or can you die from astral traveling?
No. No. Yes, maybe. Is it dangerous? No. Is it risky? Could be, depending on your frequency. Because again, everything's about frequency. So if you're matching something that's dark, you're going to have that dark experience. If you're matching something higher, or you're matching something to learn. So you can astral travel into the Akashic records. and start pulling things.
That'll
Uh,
be interesting.
you may decide to astral travel. What was it? Land of the Lost? Are you, you're
Oh,
old enough, right? Did you
yes,
get that?
I'm old enough to know that one.
And have
I'll
a
answer
dinosaur
it.
eat come after you, or you could attract something if you're vibrating in a frequency that's sphere based. So it's really about how you play the game. You've got to remember everything matches.
Okay, one more question from Facebook. Why
Oh,
do people want to astral travel?
because you're multidimensional. So you are part spirit, you're part physical, and your brain, mind, body, and spirit. So that's a really good question. It's just who we are. 50% of us is that part that wants to go and be part of the spirit. And when you do pass, then you step into that full part of our spirit, and it becomes our reality. So the physical is so clunky. Sometimes I have to go upstairs or if I have to go downstairs and get a brownie, I have to walk down all the stairs and
I know it'd be much nicer if you could just go, okay, brownie, and you're right there.
right here, yes.
I know.
Well, and that's the other side. So yeah, it's a good topic. What are we talking about next time?
Next time, which will be on May the, oh, I should have had this date out. Let's see, May the 5th, we will be discussing spirit guides.
Oh, fun. That's going to be a good one.
That will be good. So we want to make sure that everybody tunes in. This will be our new format for the time being. Just so you all know, this is live. We are recording this, and we will be podcasting this on our podcast. Um, a reminder: we do have a light language 102 workshop this weekend. I'm sorry, not this weekend. May 1st and 2nd.
Mhm.
I get my time confused. May 1st and 2nd. For those who've taken the 101 workshop and still need to take the 102, please join us. Also, we will be having a booth at the Wellness Expo in Grapevine on May 1st and 2nd as well. So come see me and Miss Jeannie.
Mhm.
So, with that, I think we will wrap up tonight. Thank you all for joining us, and we will see you again on May the 5th.
Fabulous. What fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Anna.
Namaste.